We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Jaelan Phillips, Miami Dolphins edge defender. And, not many guys you can point to on this defense. I think everyone has a good idea of how people are playing. But if there's one guy that I think is playing better than what they think, just based on the stat sheet, and you just watch the film, it's Jaelan Phillips. He's actually been your best edge rusher. I know that might surprise some people, but he's the one actually creating most of the pressure and has the highest win rate of the team. I know people might think it's Bradley Chubb because he has the 3 sacks and Phillips has 0. That's why you got to go into the film sometimes, because Phillips has actually been more effective, and I think, especially coming off 2 major injuries, he looked more and more explosive every single week. And he's the one who's kind of really been affecting those plays. And like 2 of 3 Chubb sacks, he was actually the initial one who caused problems on that play. So I feel like Phillips, if there was one player I had to bet on the Dolphins defense to like start getting more and more productive as the year went on, it would be Phillips, especially because he is looking more and more explosive. It would definitely be him. So shout out Jaelan Phillips for that stuff, because this guy's a freak. He's special in my opinion. I think he's always hasn't got quite the credit he deserved. His biggest problem has just been injuries, so hopefully that can be worked upon. And he is someone that, like, if the Dolphins do continue to struggle, he is one of the guys I could see getting traded at the trade deadline. And I wouldn't surprise me if he goes to like the right team with like a good defense around him, if he was someone who like started having like takeover moments on another team. It's just, this is why like people will talk about finishing, and I do think there's one rep in here where Phillips had to finish, and like people think like, oh, pressures don't mean anything if you don't get the sacks. That's not true. Pressure usually equals sacks in the future. It doesn't always add up. Sometimes there's context missing. Not all sacks are created equal. Phillips is someone who will end up getting some sacks if he keeps playing like this, or he'll at least keep affecting plays and allow other people to get sacks. But like opportunity matters and players around you matter, because you'll see on some of these plays. Phillips right here, lined up head up over the tackle, beats the guard to the inside. You can see the quickness. Does a great job hitting that like stick and then jab to the outside and then hard club with that right hand. Is able to win to the inside. It's just one of those situations where the QB's looking right at you, and he's able to sidestep pretty comfortably and then get rid of the ball right away. But Phillips is the one who really affects this play. The biggest thing that ends up happening here is they bring a blitz off the edge with Dotson, but Dotson is more so playing as if he's like kind of spying the QB, kind of cunning contained. But if this was another edge, say this was like Chop, and Chop bull rushes this tackle back and gets him into the face here, Jones is someone that would have a much higher chance of getting sacked. It's just an easy completion. He had an easy option to go to. It's just sometimes the players around you aren't always constricting the pocket like you. That's why rushing in tandem is so important. And you'll see it on other plays, like the ability to rush in tandem with the rest of your defensive lines or edges. Like right here, here's the perfect example. This is a Chubb sack, and this is Chubb's best sack, but it's also affected by Phillips, because Phillips he's got the attention here. Chubb's got a one-on-one on the backside. Phillips has a condensed receiver, so he can't get super wide. He's got a tight end to his side. He's got a running back to his side. Now, the running back releases out here, so it doesn't affect him, but the tight end slows him down on a chip. Phillips still wins around the edge, wins around with explosiveness. Looked at him like, good job dipping underneath rip. He forces Jones off his spot, who's trying to roll out to the right a little bit. And then Chubb, who wins to the inside in his one-on-one, great rep there from Chubb, is able to finish and get the sack. But that is first affected by Phillips. If Phillips doesn't win around the edge here, Jones has a much higher chance of avoiding this move here from Chubb than, in other circumstances. Say Phillips tries to win to the inside, because sometimes, a DN might try to win to the inside like this when he has the outside help. If Phillips tries to win the inside, Jones probably just escapes the outside and escapes the pressure and sack, there from both players. That's why it's important to rush in tandem. But like Phillips is constantly affecting these plays, and I just think he's the one having the most consistent impact. Here's another one. Like, he didn't get quite the chance, but like the running back released to his side, so he has to stay tight. The tight end's also to his side, so he's getting the attention again. He has to like dip underneath, hits that little foot fire hesitation right there. Get that little hesitation, freeze the old lineman, make him shoot his hands right there. He swipes the hands. Phillips is patient. Then he's able to rip and dip underneath, bend around the edge. He goes for the ball, not quite able to get there. And as he's going for it, he kind of like Chubb loses contain here. Actually, like this play is kind of more on Chubb that he loses contain to the outside. If he stays contained out there, Chubb's going to get a cleanup sack, And then Phillips also ends up running into Chubb. He loses that to the outside. So that play actually allowing him to escape is more so on Chubb in that situation. One Phillips would like to probably get back, but the wins are there for sure from him playing at a high level in that spot. Here's another play where he cuts to the inside. Him and Sealer actually work in tandem pretty well here, so he like understands like what he's got going on. Phillips knifes, boom! Look at that quickness, cross the face, club, rip underneath. Great job playing with bend and flexibility. If Phillips stays healthy, whichever team he ends up going into, whether he gets traded or he leaves as a free agent in the offseason, and he stays healthy, this team's got a real good player, I'm telling you. Bend underneath, force Drake May off his spot. So Drake May sees this all the way, so he's able to force him off spot. But Sealer is now kind of looping around and playing as like a scrape guy and is able to at least affect him a little bit. Phillips in chase, and that ends up kind of slowing that play down just nice and effectively again. But this is the one play where like he should have finished, like where he had a clean chance to actually finish, where he run super quick. He does a great job flashing this hand, so he flashes the long arm, and then like this is a really nice pass rush move, clearly rushing with the play, flashes the long arm, and then dips underneath it, rip, great move, wins it so effectively, and he has a clean lane on the quarterback there, but he just doesn't finish. This is like the only play where like he had a chance to finish and he didn't actually finish, so that's one he probably wants back. He got a clean one-on-one, like Chubb got the double on the opposite side. This play is also kind of on Sealer too. If Sealer gets a one-on-one, so Chubb's getting doubled, Grant's getting doubled. If Sealer's able to collapse the pocket a little bit more up the interior, then May might be more affected, but he kind of gets manhandled. But also Phillips, this is the one play he's got to be able to finish, because this is the one where May steps up and completes the deep ball to Stevenson down the sideline. But yeah, that's one he'll probably want back. And then look at Phillips on this play, man. Like, he's trying his hardest out there. Like, this is a play where it's play action, max protect. So they play action, and they end up not fully max protect, but they play action, slide, and they have 6-0 linemen out there. They have a running back, so they're having 7 block. Phillips, in this situation, like when they full slide to your side like this, and it's play action, it is very difficult to get pressure on this side. The fact that he knifes inside the tackle, so great job feeling the space open up, great job, and then knife to the inside, beat the hands of Deion Dawkins, and then also now beat the McGovern 66, who's the center. He's so wide, you have to win around the edge like this, like he's a tackle. He's so wide out here, like he's basically a tackle in this situation, and then dip and rip underneath that, and then force Josh Allen off his spot. And the fact that he is able to do this on like a deep shot that they're trying to take, deep drop from Allen, and he's able to beat 2 offensive linemen so quickly, it forces Josh Allen to basically rush right away, and it's the one where he ends up kind of, flipping it. It goes incomplete. But it's very rare for an offensive or a defensive lineman edge to get pressure this quickly on a play like that, especially when they're coming to the side. That's why like focusing on specific opportunities like that is so important. Like pretty effective play from Phillips. Here he hits a hump move, another one where he won pretty quickly, but ball is out quick to the running back. It's just one of those things where you're like, if the pass rush and coverage could play in tandem a little bit better, man. It's just every play, it seems like one of them's messing up. And also just Phillips' opportunities are limited sometimes because he's dropping into coverage so often. It just feels like he's getting less and less true pass rush opportunities. But like here, versus Spencer Brown, the Bills have a good O-line. He doesn't win instantly around the corner, but he hits the hump move. Like he tries to, hit that rip, but he hits the hump move back to the inside where you get that inside hand into that armpit, and you're able to kind of toss him to the inside, open his hips back the other way, work through contact. Maybe, even he gets hands to the face there, but he also is kind of getting held. He actually kind of ends up winning that rep. Unfortunately, they get a running back on a linebacker, and they get an easy completion. Here's another play where I think Phillips gets the initial pressure, winning around the edge of Spencer Brown, and just another great hand fight opportunity. He just looks explosive. Like, just look at him off the ball. Like, look at how low he's playing, and look at Chubb, and look at his explosiveness. He fires off the ball. Like, look at that position. He doesn't really come up at all. Chubb kind of gets a little bit higher in his pad level. He kind of stays there, while Phillips fires off like a track player. And look how, boom, hits that club to the outside elbow. That is beautiful hand placement and is able to then dip and rip around the edge. He's bending. Josh Allen also, like, doesn't gain too much depth, but he still feels this, has to step up. Grant and Sealer actually do a good job not allowing him to escape up the middle and, at least condensing the pocket pretty quickly. The back end was playing with more aggressive coverage. They were pressing for the most part and taking away his quick options. And then Chubb, who probably has, doesn't do too much as a pass rusher here, gets the cleanup sack. So, like, he's just playing more as a cleanup. Deion Dawkins actually wins that rep, but he ends up getting that sack because of the other guys being able to rush in tandem a bit better. But Phillips has been the initiator, which I think is the hardest thing to find. You got to have that initiator. If you don't have that initiator to create those initial part of those plays, then Chubb isn't getting those sacks for the most part, except one of the sacks he would get. But his other sack that he got, it wasn't that impressive. He was one-on-one versus a tight end. And then here's a play like this where, Phillips gets a fairly quick pressure here. He kind of affects the throw of the quarterback, but it's like the one time the coverage has a breakdown in the secondary. It was the big touchdown where Melifonwu isn't in his right position. But like Phillips it's not like a perfect rush or anything, but it's a pretty solid one, especially when he's left isolated there. He's kind of affecting the throw. I mean, Daniel Jones just he's been a different beast this year. I don't know what's going on there. But even plays like when they're max protecting, he's like one of the only ones really getting after it. He's got two tight ends kind of to his side. He ends up getting isolated one-on-one, and he just completely bullies that guy. But ball is out quick. They're kind of max protecting there, and they get a one-on-one isolated shot. It's just very unfortunate they haven't been able to marry the production up front to the back end at all, because it definitely goes on kind of both of them. Here, quick check down. This is a third down situation, so Dolphins come out with, Chop, Phillips, and Chubb. They get Phillips and Chubb on the same side. They work a stunt with him. Phillips does a really good job as a crash guy, crashing down, kind of taking 77-6 with him, and then also just knifing to the inside, takes both. Then Chubb can create the loop and would, create that pocket. And it just forces Josh Allen to feel that pressure and check down quickly. They rally, and that's when they start forcing some 3-and-outs in that Bills game. Those are the plays you want to see. But Phillips was having a lot of wins, man. Like, look at him. Like, this is just a situation where, like, it doesn't end up helping because they play action. Phillips wins super fast. Like, he feels this space open up to the inside. He, boom, attacks the outside half of the tackle and then takes space back to the inside like that with his quickness. Does a great job playing with some play strength and quickness right there. Went to the inside. It's just unfortunate. As soon as Josh Allen, most quarterbacks wouldn't do this. As soon as Josh Allen hits his back foot in his set here, he takes off. He doesn't even read the defense. He's not even reading what's going on. He just instantly is taking off because he feels the pressure instantly from Phillips. If he is trying to read and make a throw, Phillips probably gets a pretty clean chance at a hit here. But Josh Allen instantly takes off and ends up gaining a couple yards. But he's still the one initially impacting the plays. If other players start playing better around him, his play is going to be highlighted even more, and he's going to make other players start to look even a little bit better. They just have to start playing to that level. It's just you're not getting great individual effort from some other people. It's everyone. There's people on the D-line. There's people on the edge group. There's people on the linebacker group. The secondary, it's very interesting. And there's another play where he creates the quick pressure. It's just and he forces Josh Allen off his spot. This is a 2nd and long, final drive of the game. Jaylen Phillips gets one-on-one with a guard here. He's able to just throw his body. Look at him work speed to power here. Collapses the pocket. Forces Josh Allen off his spot. They basically, and then they're slanting this way to get this one-on-one. So they wanted to create one-on-ones on the backside. So they slant here. Grant and Sealer take this space to get a 2-on-3 on this side. Chubb drops. And it creates a one-on-one with Phillips and Willie Gay. Phillips wins. And then Grant actually does a good job kind of stepping up to take if Josh Allen was going to scramble, to at least slow him down if he was going to go there. It's just there's a huge coverage breakdown in the secondary. Chubb is in coverage, doesn't know, he's supposed to carry this. And then, he gets that completion. They end up going 30 yards. It's just so many breakdowns happening elsewhere. But, man, Phillips is really close to getting to full form. And I think if just opportunities and situations are a little bit better on his pass rush wins, he's going to start to look a lot better, I think, in the public eye. I think people that watch film know that Phillips has actually been pretty solid. And I still think, he's looking more explosive each week. So I think you're still seeing him return from that injuries. Uh, and honestly, to look that explosive after those two injuries is just shows what kind of like freak of nature he is. And I do believe the production will come. I don't know if it will come this next week because he does have the Jets O line has been like they played really good week one, but have struggled the last 2 weeks. Uh, but the one guy that's played really good is their right tackle, and that's who Phillips will face a lot. He is a rookie, but that rookie gave TJ Watt work. So Phillips and Chop will have the tough matchup next week. I wonder if they'll get moved around to go against other people like left tackles and their guards who are a little more susceptible. So that will be interesting. But I do think as the season goes on, Phillips, if he stays healthy, hopefully, knock on wood, then he is someone I think if there's one player on the team that I expect to just play better statistically, it would be Phillips. So if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, and